What's going on, everybody? It's Korean Brown here with Angel Park Golf Club. We are on our magnificent Palm course, hole number 14. Course looks like it's in great conditions. As you can tell, it's beautiful weather. So if you're out there, take advantage of the golf course right now. Get out, play some golf, hit some balls, or just come out and enjoy the scenery. It's Masters recap. We want to congratulate John Ron for winning the Masters this week, and we also want to congratulate Jaden Braun, the winner of our Masters contest. He chose John Ron, and I believe minus 11. He missed the number by 1, but he won the 4 rounds of golf this week. So we want to shout out to him. We also want to thank Alex Babes Golf, the Southern California chapter, for coming out this past weekend and enjoying the Cloud9 course. They're our first guests to come out, our outside influencer guests. So we want to thank all of them, all the beautiful ladies, for coming out and enjoying the Cloud9. And speaking of ladies, this is our first week on Golf at the Park podcast show. We have our first female guest, Mallory Berry. Now, she uses a little bit of explicit language, so that's your warning right there. But yeah, it's going to be a great show. We want to thank Mallory Berry and all the females who are getting into golf and just growing the game. Enjoy the show.
Hello, Las Vegas. Thank you for tuning in to Golf at the Park. You already know the deal. You're liking and subscribing, so thank you very much for that. We're just going to get started. I am so excited today. We have our first female on the show and also the first guest with a live studio audience. So how do we feel about a lady on the show, ladies?
What's up, y'all?
Mallory Berry, thank you for coming on the show.
Actual pleasure. I mean, you guys have been doing this for a minute, but I've been golfing here for a decade and a half. So.
Yeah, this is so fun. I met Mallory here at Angel Park in 2009.
Yep.
So we'll get to that part of the story when we get there. But we start at the beginning. So who introduced you to golf and when, and how'd you start playing? How'd you get into it?
Probably around middle school. My dad, I think at one point, just wanted to go play golf. And at that age, it's either you're watching your kids and you're doing what they're doing, or you're not playing golf. So me and my 2 younger sisters would go with him to the course. He actually ended up working at this tiny little golf course in Lincoln, Nebraska called Hidden Valley. It was BYOB, which was very fun. Not for me, because I was in middle school at the time, but for everybody else, it seemed like a riot. And then at one point, we're parking golf carts, we're gassing golf carts, we're cleaning golf balls for a couple bucks. And you could pick a convertible cart or a cart with a top, because if you're drinking your BYOB beers and you hit a low hanging branch, some of the carts didn't have tops.
Oh,
so
wow.
Started there, and then my sisters and I all played high school golf. I caddied for 4 years at the Broadmoor, so got to loop for a little while, which was really fun.
Tell me about high school golf.
High school golf, I went to a high school in Colorado Springs, Colorado at Wasson, and my sisters and I were all on the golf team throughout high school. The girls' golf coach was actually the boys' football coach, and he coached girls' golf much like he did boys' football.
That's fun.
Lots of screaming and yelling, lots of drop and give me 20, lots of go do a lap,
With the girls' golf team.
Yeah, and he's in a big parka, and he's got a dip in his mouth. He's, girls, come on, get your acts together.
Take a lap? Where would you run a lap?
I mean, like, from back and forth to the driving range, if you sculled a shot, like, it was wild looking back, thinking about a high school boys football coach coaching girls golf. He just wanted to play golf. He got to play free golf for a couple months out of the year and had to just bear in mind that he's with a bunch of teenage high school girls who didn't care.
What a character.
Yeah.
So how was your golf team? Were you guys very good?
It's funny because we were somewhat of an inner city high school, and so we had a hodgepodge of girls playing. Some of them had never played golf before. Some of them had played with their dads, their parents, what have you.
Is this Colorado Springs?
Colorado Springs, yeah. And so there's a couple of really, really nice high schools in Colorado Springs, and these girls got to play at country clubs, and they've had, custom golf clubs since they were 10, and we're using, like, Goodwill sets and garage sets.
You were the Bad News Bears.
We were the Bad News Bears, but we also kind of kicked some ass.
That's awesome. Bad News Bears kicked ass.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool because we'd show up with, like, leftover golf bags and, like, weird golf uniforms that were kind of thrown together real cheaply. And so then these other girls come and they've got, Titleist and Nike and brand new bags every season. And we come and we just kick their asses every time.
That's
and
awesome.
so we became like this threat in the city. And nobody ever saw it coming because they're like, this school shouldn't even have a golf program, let alone be good. So it was kind of cool. We made a little bit of a name for ourselves at the time.
How fun. So you're done with high school golf and you start looping?
No, so our girls' golf season, unfortunately, starts in February in Colorado. And I know you've spent some time in Colorado. It still snows from February to May. So we're playing golf in the snow because they're not going to shut the course down for 100 high school girls for 2 days in a row. So we would have to go out in the snow and play. And so our golf kits came with a bag that had like mold in the bottom and weird stuff in the pockets from the season before. And then a swim team, we would take the swim team parkas. So the swim team would give the parkas to the girls' golf team because we'd have to play in the snow. So we're out in like a full length freaking snowsuit parka playing golf. We all got a box of hot hands to keep in our pockets and our golf bags. And so we'd have to play in the snow regardless. Wow. But then come May, June, the Broadmoor Resort opens. And so my sister and I would wake up at around 4:30 in the morning, drive out to the Broadmoor, loop 1 or 2 rounds, and then get a smoothie on the way back home and with $400, $500 in our pockets. And we always got picked because I don't know. I mean, you've seen.
How many young girls are looping? I mean,
none. It was just the two of us. And we had the full-blown painter, masters-looking jumpsuits with had the Broadmoor on the back. And it's just my sister and I. And we kind of look like twins, too. And men are men. And so they're like, oh, we'll take the twins. Those little 16-year-old twins. We want them looping.
Oh, that's so bad.
It's so bad. It was like, and it was also a different time. This was 20 years ago.
Right.
This was a little bit different.
We talk a lot about how much golf has changed even in 20 years.
And society in general, too. Sure. So we'd get picked every time. And it's JP Morgan tournaments. And it's buyouts. And it's members. And so you had different levels of caddy. And so once you got to caddy master, you're making $100 no matter what. They had to pay you $100 plus tip. And there were times my sister and I would walk away. One time, the guy that runs Maytag, the washer dryer Maytag, gave my sister the brand new TaylorMade driver back when you first got the click things. Right? And it was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. She got one of those for free. He bought it in the clubhouse, played 4 holes with it, hated it, and gave it to her.
Wow.
And I'm just like, can I get one? I want one. But it was really fun. Caddying taught us so much, and we made so much money. And we got to play the Broadmoor for free.
That's amazing.
It was absolutely wild.
That's so fun. I know that we're going to get to how you've incorporated golf into your career, but your career is not technically in golf. So let's talk about how you get into your career and how you've made your career kind of a golf career. It's amazing to me.
Shout out to my bosses. What's up?
I'm very jealous, and we have a dynamic that we'll probably get into in a minute. But let's just start with your career and how you got into it.
Yeah, so my dad has worked in radio his whole life. My mom actually dabbled in radio. My sister worked in radio for a little bit, and I've worked at iHeartRadio for 6 years. But I've been in radio here in Las Vegas, in Tampa, in Nebraska. Been in and out of radio pretty much my whole life. My first
your family is a legacy family in radio, like my family.
Let's not tell my dad that, but no, yes,
it's so great. It's so great because we laugh all the time about how we kind of work the jobs that the other one would like to work.
Yeah,
like,
if I
I'd
could
rather
switch,
work in radio.
And I wouldn't, as much as I'd love to work at a golf course. Every golf person I know that works in golf doesn't get to play golf.
Right.
And I play a lot of golf.
Right. See, so
I play a lot of golf. So back to the career point.
Yep.
I did festivals here in Las Vegas for a radio group.
94.1?
Yeah, and X107.5, 98.5 KLUC, which is another segue of how we almost didn't meet/met because you played Bite of Las Vegas.
That's right.
With your band.
Yep.
Which ended up being my festival.
Yep, we played Bite in 2010? I don't remember, yeah.
I would have known you. Oh, but I didn't have the job then maybe. Either way.
Yeah.
So I do play a lot of golf. I love taking clients to play golf. They are stuck with me for 4.5, 5, 6 hours, and I'm relentless. And so between side bets and gambling and shit talking, and if I beat you, I need you to sign on for like an annual contract. And most of the time, it's middle-aged white guys. It just happens to end up being that way. And they're like, oh, whatever. You can't take me. I'll sign off on that bet right now. And I end up beating them by like 4 or 5 strokes or side bets. And then after 4 or 5 hours of being on the golf course together, they're like, wait, so I get to work with you and get concert tickets and play golf? I'd sign off on it anyway.
Sure.
And so then there's other times where I just go out by myself and it's a random threesome, get paired up with random people. And oh, what do you do? By the 3rd or 4th hole, oh, what is it that you do? Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And I tell them I work in radio. And 9 times out of 10, it's typically a, oh my God, that's so cool. I'm like, yeah, it really is. It really is really cool. You don't even want to know the half of it.
That's great. And you, again, you've encompassed it so much that you are a golfer, not just when you're working. When you're on your free time, you're always golfing too.
That's pretty much what my free time consists of. I joke with people like your feed the ducks. Not coincidentally, but women typically are like, oh, I love to do yoga. That's what calms me down. If I don't play golf once a week, like the winter gets hard in Colorado, it's seasonal depression, but mine is seasonal depression because I'm not golfing.
Right.
And there's no concerts. So I'm like double angry. But in the summertime, on my weekends, I'm playing golf. I'm finding excuses to go play. I'm inviting clients to go play. I'm trying to sign up for leagues and tournaments now. I actually was pushed a little bit in this direction by Matt Cardis, who's Golf in Your State. Great account, you should follow. But he pushed me Golf in Your State, and he's working with Adidas, and he's just really trying to grow the game in a really cool way. I played golf with him, and I told him, like, I don't really like playing with new players. I don't really like playing with women who haven't played before. And he got kind of upset with me. And he goes, that's your job. It is your job to make this more approachable for women because women are already intimidated by men. Why would you not take this and champion it and be better for the game? And I'm like,
great.
Oh, and then I kind of felt like a jerk. And so I have to, it also tests my patience, but these women are so intrigued and they're so interested and they want to learn how to play. But it's intimidating to go out there as a brand new golfer, guy or female, to learn how to play. You don't know the rules. You don't know the etiquette. You don't even know how to hold a club.
Right.
And so started this small group of girls, and it's just a girl golf gang, and we go to the driving range. Everybody has to get a drink. Go get a drink. We're going to make this like super chill, super approachable. And we just go to the range and like, how should I hold it? Should I do this? What does this club do? And it's just an hour or so kicking it at the driving range. But now it's turned into like 15 or 20 professional women who want to learn how to play golf and be better, but they need to find a more approachable way to do it. If they don't have their own sticks, or if they don't know what they're doing, or they don't want to go with their boyfriend, their husband, their boss, their coworker, because it is scary when you first start.
We have the same thing here. We have Random Golf Club. It has women's only meetups, and they're so successful. We just had one a couple weeks ago, and there were 24, 26 gals out there.
The women are catching on.
And they take it over.
Not to mention these golf guys don't look so bad either.
So it's been really fun that I think the game is being much more accessible to women.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Let's talk about content and social media. You are big with Colorado Golf Blog, who is one of my favorite content people.
We love them.
Colorado Golf Blog, shout out. If one of you ends up in Vegas and playing Angel Park, we'd love to have you on the show.
Oh my God, you say that, they could probably be on a flight and be here by tomorrow because they're trying to play too.
Yeah.
So it's a group of guys. They're in between Denver and Colorado Springs. And so I grew up in Colorado Springs, but I now live in Denver. There's a golf course called Kings Deer in Monument, Colorado, and that's where they host a lot of these tournaments. It started with, Instagram, and then it turned into, well, why don't we do tournaments and invite people to come hang out and be a part of this movement? And so it's Jeff Kelly, Lee Brown, Dave Gabalto, and Craig Lemley, and those are the guys that run it. And they've kind of let me be part of this boys group, which is really fun because I love a boys club.
Right.
But it also adds a caveat to like the female side of things. And so the more and more they start adding people and getting people into these tournaments, the more women start showing up, which is really cool. And then it's nice because they play in an 8-some, and typically there is one mega social media influencer in the group as well, and I get to tag along. Like, I can hold my own. Fun. I can hang. I'm not as good as these guys. Like, these guys are all pretty much scratch golfers, and I'm like at a 10 or 11 right now. But the fact that I get to be... I was
going to say, you can play.
I can play, but like, these guys are good.
Right.
And I just want to be invited. I just want to have a seat at the table. And it's so fun because they do include me, and they are adding, like, I think the first season there weren't any women that played, and now for each tournament there's probably 7 or 8 women, and it's becoming more and more and more. But they're just such a good group of guys, and they just want to have fun. They just want to have fun.
That's great. Are you playing with any other groups in Denver?
There is a Facebook group actually I found. It's Denver 2030s, and it's I think when I joined it, it was 1,000 people, and now it's up to like 2,000 or 3,000. And it's literally somebody will be like, "Hey, I have a tea time today at 10:30. Can anybody hop on?" And it's so nice because, granted, you don't know the person, but it's an invite for a last minute tea time, and you can get in pretty quick. Or where should I get my clubs fitted? Or does anybody know what driving ranges have green grass right now that aren't hitting off mats? So it's kind of this nice little check-in of the thermometer, the temperature of what's going on in the golf scene in Denver, and who has a free tea time. So
Right, yeah,
that's been
for
pretty
sure.
nice too.
What about watching golf? Are you one who follows the tour? Do you binge a lot of golf?
I do, but if it's nice enough to play, I'd rather go play. But if it's like obviously the Masters, I pretty much
Majors.
start Monday before. I've got menus and pimento cheese sandwiches lined up for the weekend and John Daly's. So I watch it, especially if it's during the workday and I can't be playing. I'll have it on my phone at my desk, or I'll have it
Sure,
on a
we all
second
will.
screen. Yeah, we're all like, "What was that?" Trying to get my stuff in.
The Masters used, or maybe it was Final Four, but somebody used to have a boss link, a boss button, where you could click it and it would bring up a
A spreadsheet. Thanks, spreadsheet. What? Yeah, I never have anybody looking over my shoulder wondering if I'm booking tea times or watching golf. They're like, really? Really? Really?
That's funny. What's your least favorite thing about golf? What would you change if you could change anything about golf?
This is a big hot button for me, and I don't know how to fix it. Okay, so I don't play from the women's tees because my driver is like between 225 and 260. And so it's just really not fun to play from the red tees when a par 4 is 260.
Right.
So at that point, there's no challenge to it. So I play from the white tees. I try to play from around 6,000 yards, which matches my handicap. So because I'm a female and I register my GIN as a female, I still shoot like high 80s, low 90s, which isn't a 10 handicap. That's closer like a 15 or an 18 handicap. But because I'm a girl and I wear a skirt and I'm not playing from the red tees, it gives me bonus points for having a better handicap. And I just feel like if I tell somebody I'm a 10 handicap and I don't go out there and shoot low 80s, they're like, "You're a liar." So I'm like an opposite sandbagger.
Oh, that's weird.
So it like doesn't give me the benefit of the fact that I really do shoot high 80s, low 90s.
That's a real problem.
It's so irritating, and I get it. Like, if I played from the red tees, maybe that would be a different scenario. But I feel like a lot of golf courses are changing it. It doesn't say ladies tees anymore.
They have
It
been
says
started to do
forward tees, or it says, if you hit the ball this far, this is where you should play from. Or if you have a handicap of this is where you should play from. So back to the whole, like, let's make everything equal and fair. Happy National Women's Month. If we're going to make everything equal and fair, then make my handicap the same as the boys. Or don't give me bonus points just because I don't play from that same tee box. Because when you put in your score, it asks you what tee box you played from, and it asks you what you scored. So that's probably my biggest pet peeve.
No, that's a great one, and something that
It's easily fixed.
Be working on.
I feel like this is an easy, like, sit down, have a meeting, take a vote. Okay, we're going to change how women are scored for their handicaps. And then I think the other one that bothers me, and this is everyone feels the same way, is marshals who just get on your ass about the dumbest things. Like, I play quick, I know when to pick up, I know when to move, and there's still just those marshals out there that think that, they've got literally a sheriff's badge and they're the new sheriff in town, and they just get off on yelling at people, and it's like, okay, we're waiting on every shot. It's not me. Go talk to those guys.
Yeah.
But I feel like everybody hates that.
Yeah, no, it's marshals. It's an interesting job, but I've never
it
thought of it
ever-
as having a sheriff's badge. Yeah.
That's what they have.
No,
I
it's
mean,
smart.
it says marshal
It's
on the
funny.
cart, so if they could just put sheriff on their shirt, and it's always the same guy. Like, every marshal at every golf course across the country, it's the same dude.
Yeah.
They all look the same, they all talk the same, they all act the same, and they don't really do anything else all day.
No, they're just out there for free golf.
Yeah, and to be a dick.
What's your favorite thing about golf?
I think my favorite thing about golf, I do enjoy the fact that I'm pretty decent at it. And so the shock factor of when I'm out at a course and they're like, "Great, we got paired up with a girl." And then I stripe it past them, or I get a par on the first hole and they're like, "Oh,
That's fun.
oh." I kind of love the shock factor. Or one of my sister and I, so me and my two younger sisters, we all have a swing speed between like 95 and 102. So we can swing the ball. We can swing the club. So our favorite thing to do is we'll go into like a PGA Tour Superstore, a Golf Galaxy, or whatever, and we'll pick up a men's driver. And more often than not, it's some 28-year-old snotty kid who's probably a +1 handicap. Like, cool, first time working at a golf store. Like, you're not that cool. And so we'll grab a men's driver. I'm like, oh, I just want to hit this. Oh, no. The women's drivers are over here. You don't want that. It's going to be too hard to hit. And then we're like, all right, go get a women's club. Dare you. So then they'll go and get a women's club, and it's just like so whippy because those are made for a swing speed of like 60 to 80 miles per hour. And so I've never broken one. I've broken women's clubs before, but I've never broken one at a golf store, thank goodness. But then after I take one swing, they're like, oh, okay. I'll go put that back. I'm like, yeah, go get me what I asked for. So yeah, making grown men uncomfortable, I guess, would be the short answer.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
What do you have a practice routine? How do you practice, or do you just go out and play? That's where
it depends on how hungover I am from the night before. So if I'm super hungover, I don't have time to warm up. And so it's a Bloody Mary, get in the cart and pray. If I have time to warm up, I like to get there like an hour before. Not a huge bucket of balls. I should probably putt more than I do, which is probably why I'm not as good as I think I am because I don't practice my short game. But I try to get there like an hour early, go to the range, do some putts. I'd never chip before I play around. And then usually if it's a morning tee time, a Bloody Mary and a beer, and if it's an afternoon tea time, like a John Daly and a beer.
What about clubs? Are you preferential to certain brands, sets? What's your set look like? What do you wish it looked like?
So coincidentally, my clubs were stolen twice in the last couple of years.
I forgot that, but I remember that now.
I really encourage everybody to get renter's insurance because they'll pay for your golf clubs if they get stolen. So that was something I learned not the hard way.
After the first
But
one.
then I got to go, like, how often does somebody get to go get a $3,000 check and hand it over to somebody and be like, cool, I get to get all brand new fitted golf clubs. It's not cheap. Like, even just to go get one wedge, it's $150. Right. So I had the privilege of getting a couple new sets made for me. And so the second time I went in, Mike Maloney, who works at Lenny's Golf Shop in Denver, probably the best fitter I've ever worked with. And I've gone with other people to get fitted, and it's just not the same experience unless they're not passionate about what they do and they want to get you with clubs that make sense for your swing. Because some guys will push you, oh, you should get these pings. Oh, you should get these PXGs. You should, because they're getting spiffed on it. They're getting more commission on it. And so I hated it when stuff didn't match. I want either all Callaway or all TaylorMade or all Titleist because it just looks nice to have all of the same brand. And by the second time I went in, Mike told me, he's like, so who's your sponsor? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're so hot to trot on having all the same stuff in your bag. Are you sponsored? I was like, no. He's like, play what you hit the best. Why would you decide that you need to have this driver if you hit this one 40 yards farther? So at that point, he custom fit everything, and we took off all the brands, took off all the logos, and said, this is what fits you best. And so my first set, I think I was hitting my 7-iron like 140, 150, and now with the set I have now, I hit my 7-iron like 175, 180. Wow. Because one, he's a good fitter, and he didn't push me on a brand just because he was going to get an extra commission. So now I have a hodgepodge of things, and I think it really goes down to look and feel. Because if you don't like the way your club looks when you're looking down at it, it messes with your head. You're like, oh, I just wish this wasn't white, or I wish that little triangle wasn't there. So now I'm not brand loyal as far as that stuff is concerned. When it comes to golf clothes, I'm super specific because women's golf clothes. Let's talk about that. Women's golf clothes, that's probably a bigger pet peeve for me than, okay, handicap first, women's golf clothes, Marshall third. Women's golf clothes, it's either if you walk into a pro shop, the men's section is hundreds of options, and they're all so cool. And then you go to the women's section, and it's like hot pink, neon green, and lots of flowers.
There's a lot of hot pink, isn't there?
Black and white. Why can't I have cool stuff? Why can't I have nice things? And so people have said, like, well, why don't you start your own golf brand? I don't really have the time for that. I wish I did. I wish I knew people that could help me get there. I do feel like they're, with the Instagram golf accounts, the Instagram golf apparel, they're getting better and better. There are the men's cuts and then the women's cuts of the same polo. And that's all I want. Just give me a couple more options. And then the other thing, like the sleeves that come down to here, I don't know if you know this, but when we don't want tan lines down here, it's not cute. So just trying to find the brands that at least give you something fun to wear that's not hot pink or flowers, because I don't like hot pink or flowers.
That's funny. Where are some of your favorite places you've played? Because you've played a lot of golf.
I get around. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
I think it's twofold. One, it's the people that work at the course. Like, if they're stuffy and they think that they've got the best course in town, that's kind of hard to love because, like, okay, we get it. Like, you think you're hot shit. But I think the other part is the views because I really try to, like, not be on my phone, take it in, be present. Like, it is my... feed the ducks. And so my favorite course is in Colorado, Perry Park Country Club, which is off the beaten path in Larkspur.
Shout out Perry Park.
Shout out Perry Park. I like Perry Park more than the Broadmoor. And I have had the privilege of playing the Broadmoor, I don't know, like 50 times. And the Broadmoor is $500 a round. Like, you can't get on. And I play a lot of country clubs, but Perry Park, you get there and there's no cell phone service and there's a water driving range and all these red rocks that looks like red rocks in Colorado. There's elevation changes, there's forests, there's elk, there's moose, there's fox, it's just like a full-blown Colorado mountain experience, and you don't have to drive to the mountains to get there. It's 45 minutes from Denver. My favorite public course in Denver not in Denver, in Colorado, is Mariana Butte. Mariana Butte is in Loveland. It's $50 and it should probably be $120.
Oh, wow.
That's how nice it is. The course is amazing. The clubhouse is amazing. The pro shop's amazing. The staff is so sweet and so humble. They are so glad to have you there. Just because I play the most golf in Colorado, those would probably be the ones that, if I could get a tee time every weekend, I'd play Mariana Butte one day and I'd play Perry Park the next day.
Cool. Perry Park. I don't want to give you any stolen ideas, but Golf at the Park works pretty well for us.
Oh, plot twist. Golf at the Park, like Colorado edition. We can just make little asterisks and cool little logos.
Fun. I just forgot what I was going to say next. I don't know. What was I going to ask?
Perry Park, golf courses, favorites.
Yes. So
I'm really good at walking things back to find you. Yeah.
I'm so comfortable. We didn't do any research on this. Normally I sit down with the guest and we do an hour of this before we shoot.
A practice run.
Well, so I have an idea of where, and with you and my buddy Robbie, I don't need to do that, right? So you've played a lot in Vegas. We met here. I need you to say Angel Park first, but after Angel Park, what's your favorite golf course in Vegas?
Okay, but without you even telling me I have to say that, anytime somebody's like, hey, I know you golf a lot, where should I go in Vegas? And I do have 2 or 3 answers. I always say Angel Park. I don't think it's not just because of the course, because you do have 2 18-hole options, so it's way easier to get a tee time than at most other places. But also, again, the clubhouse and the pro shop. I think it's a full experience and not just the course, because the course is always in pristine condition. But the patio that you guys have, even if you're not a golfer, like when you used to do, what was it, 5 to 8?
Yep.
The 5 to 8 patio series, I thought were so cool.
Yeah, there are a bunch of musicians watching these that really want me to get those back. And
let's do it. Can we get a sponsor? I'll sell the liquor sponsor in right now.
I'm working on getting music back. Yes.
Okay. So the 5 to 8 parties, like you can come here and have a nice dinner and you have these beautiful views and your wraparound patio. And then in the pro shop, like you guys do have a big pro shop with lots of options.
We were top 50 pro shops for women by Golf Digest.
And I appreciate it because you do have bought this in the pro shop today, actually.
There we go.
Yeah, see? And so then I don't love paying $200 for golf. I don't like paying for golf actually ever. But if you're going to come to Vegas and you're going to play, I'd think here first, Rhodes Ranch, which isn't that far from here. Rhodes Ranch is a deal for what I think it's like $80 or $100, something like that, which is what every course is charging anymore, especially public. I just think they have really pretty views, and they've got all those cascading waterfalls on the front 9. So I really love Rhodes Ranch. And then Red Rock Arroyo is another favorite. I love that one. And then probably Bears Best. Bears Best to me is kind of like a theme park for golfers because you get to play all these signature holes, but it's all in one place. Yeah. And so I think those are probably my favorites. I mean, if we're talking private, I got to play Cascada, and that was just, they flip on the waterfall for you right before you get there.
And the stream that runs through the golf shop.
Yeah. And you can't, so at Cascada, you can't see any other hole from the hole you're on. So when you're on the hole, That's can't.
How Shadow Creek is too.
Yeah.
They stole that idea from Shadow Creek.
Well, get me on Shadow Creek and I can give them a review. Hello, Shadow Creek. What the hell? So Cascada was really cool. I want to play the Wynn, but
I've never played the Wynn.
I'd rather play here and Rhodes Ranch twice than pay $500. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mallory, I think we're out of gas. I think we're ready for a par 5. Are you ready?
Let's go play a hole.
All right.
A par 5.
Par 5, we ask the same questions to our guests each week to come up with all the different answers I'm always really curious about. So, what's your favorite golf movie?
Tin Cup, Far and Away. Because at the time, too,
Hey, that's mine.
Kevin Costner is just the coolest guy. And the fact that he's like drinking the whole time and Cheech is his caddy, and it's just these knockaround boys that are drinking in the freaking driving range. And I do joke with people sometimes because I'll be at the driving range and then I'll go out and fire off a 98 and they're like, oh, you're not that good. I'm like, yeah, I'm a driving range pro. What can I say? So I have also a tendency to quote movies emphatically. And so Tin Cup quotes just like never die.
Yep, Tin Cup is so great, and it reminds me, I said this in an earlier episode, but it reminds me of my dad, the cliches of the pro. Before my dad had, a couple kids, that was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his life and lifestyle. And
It's funny to watch now, though. Like, we're in cool outfits. It's funny to watch Tin Cup now, and it's so 90s, and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
And I think it actually came out in, like, 2003-ish. I'll have to look. Somebody fact check it.
No, I think it was earlier than that. I think it was late 90s. I'm not sure.
But the pleated pants and the big puffy men's sleeves and the visors and the big hats, like, it's just almost cringy, but nostalgic. It's not quite like Ben Hogan, but circa 90s, 80s golf is kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Question number 2. What's your favorite club in your bag and why?
Probably my 5-wood. I am so consistent with my 5-wood. Off the deck from 230, 240 yards out, I can get pretty close. And so I almost hit that better than my driver. But as we all know, the ego of a golfer, why do we have to keep that driver? Like, just put it away if it's not working.
There's an argument to be made that you could play the red tees and just use your 5-wood.
Boring. Boring. It's girl stuff.
All right, my favorite question. Dream foursome. So you get to play golf with any 3 people, alive or dead. Who would you play with, and where would you play?
John Daly, because all hail my hero. I swing like John Daly. I have a tendency to overswing. I've got a John Daly swing.
You get it back there.
Not to mention the man just does not care, and he drinks the whole time, so I feel like he'd be a good time. The others, I think he's number 1, but then I feel like playing golf with Mark Wahlberg, because he's a huge golfer and he's from Boston, and I just love East Coast people because they are such assholes and they are unapologetic about it. Yeah. So I feel like Mark Wahlberg would be a really fun one.
That's a great answer.
Probably nobody's said that one yet.
Not even close.
And then I think like the roundabout next one would probably have to be an athlete that loves golf. So like a Steph Curry or a Michael Jordan.
We get Steph Curry a lot, and Michael Jordan we've gotten at least once.
I'd probably have to think more about who the final 4th would be. I still think it'd be fun to play with Paige Spiranek because she's a riot and she don't give a damn either. Her and I have corresponded a little bit.
Oh, have you?
And she loves a public course. She's not a big fan of uppity, stuffy country clubs for apparel reasons sometimes. But I just think that she would be a riot, and between the 2 of us playing with 2 guys, I feel like it would be a good dynamic of shit talking.
Well, if you've had any communication with her at all, you need to tell her that I want her on the show.
Okay, got
it. That's a dream get.
For all of us.
Yes. Somewhat. Yeah.
We've got more guests in the studio.
Yeah, there's more guests in the studio.
Come on in. We're having too much fun.
Question number. Oh wait, where would you play?
I mean, the Augustas and the Hawaii courses. Honestly, I don't know if I would care if it was at Patty Jewett at my home course in Colorado Springs, or if it would be a country club that I can't get on. I don't really know if the venue matters. If I'm with those people,
then you're good.
Yeah, not Top Golf.
That's fun. Anywhere but Top Golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
not
great.
doing that.
I love that answer. All right, this one's fun for me because we've established that Mallory is a drinker. So what's your aiming fluid? What are you drinking on the golf course?
Oh, I think I did kind of mention this before. If it's a morning tea time, a Bloody Mary and a beer. If it's an afternoon tea time, a John Daly and a beer. But also it's weather dependent too. If it's really hot outside, I love a Paloma. Palomas are my go-to.
Got me a tequila.
I know. Love that tequila. If it's cold outside, I'll just order like a double 2-finger shot of bourbon. and just sip on that if it's cold. Because I play a lot of cold weather golf.
Man's drink right there.
I mean, I think we've established I don't do a lot of ladylike things. I did play golf one time, and this guy pulled an entire bottle of rosé. A man, a very broy, cool dude-looking man. And so, we got secret stuff in their bag. We don't do that at Angel Park. Please don't bring your own drinks. Buy them from the pro shop. They're not that expensive. But he pulled out an entire bottle of rosé, and I just was floored. One, I don't know a lot of men that drink rosé. Two, I've never in my life, myself included, seen anyone pull out a bottle of wine from a golf bag. And I'm like, oh, why am I not
never seen that.
doing this?
I've never seen
It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And then he had one of those really cute aluminum wine tumblers, and it's like, do you want a glass of wine? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. So it really is just like weather dependent. Colorado Golf Club is one of the most private clubs in Colorado. It's in Parker, Denver area-ish, and they have these drinks called a Colorado paintbrush. It's like a red paintbrush is the flower. It's on where the red fern grows or something. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? And so it's vodka, strawberry puree, a splash of club soda, and I think a splash of lemonade. Not really my thing. I don't really like sweet drinks, but I worked for the Colorado Avalanche, and we all got to go play Colorado Golf Blog. And so the cart girl said, oh, you have to try the Colorado paintbrush. It's what our club is known for. It's our signature drink. And so I think I had 2 or 3. Not that many for me, if I'm being completely honest. And then me and the guys that played in this group the next day, we're all at work, and we're like, yo, what? You know why they call it a paintbrush? Because it just paintbrushed my whole memory, and I don't remember any of our golf. Luckily, we didn't drive there, like take Ubers, take Lyfts, but we really feel like it paintbrushes your whole memory because everything was kind of...
Sounds like there's a lot of vodka in that.
I didn't see her pour it. Maybe she was just generous that day. I have no idea, but the Colorado paintbrush, I won't probably drink those again because I like remembering my golf rounds.
That's amazing. This is the part of the show, the last question of the par 5 that we used to say is no longer PG rated, but with Mallory on the show, we're going to put a tag on this. It's not PG rated anyway. You don't have to apologize.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, there you go. When your anger gets the best of you and you lose it, what's your word or phrase? We feel like most golfers have a particular thing they go to.
I do, and I am really trying to be better about managing my emotions. No, not cussing. I'm still yeah, no, that's still happening. But managing my emotions on the golf course. I've been lucky enough to play with a guy for like the last couple years, and he doesn't get mad on the course. He's just always like, oh man, I can't believe I did that. And I can get kind of angry to the point where I'm not fun to be around.
That player hasn't been on the show yet, but that player, it seems like a lot of people who've been on the show envy that player, right?
Just cool as a cucumber. Oh well. Like, next shot, go to the next one. And I don't get like that. I get angry. And so when I get angry, and I don't like this movie anymore, I just like the saying, but when I hit a bad shot, for fuck's sake, Deirdre, and it's from Train Spotting. And it's the worst movie ever. It's nothing but like drugs and ODing and alcohol. It's so bad. But isn't that the worst?
I can't believe Train Spotting made golf at the park.
I know, and it's not a good movie. It's really bad. But I just love yelling, for fuck's sake, Deirdre, because then the 3 guys I'm with are like, who the fuck is Deirdre? Is her name Deirdre? I thought her name was Mallory. Valerie? Melanie? They never get my name right. It's like the 5th hole, and they're still calling me Holly or Melanie, and I'm like, whatever. So yeah, I yell for fuck's sake, Deirdre quite a bit. I don't know any Deirdres. I don't know a single one.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for coming.
I love your podcast. Congrats on all of this.
All right, that's it.
Let's go play.
Until next time, hit them straight from your friends at Angel Park. Cheers.
Woohoo! Not PG.